list. Anyway. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharani Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paskachadi Satarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Bhu Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Nishinga Shri Nishinga Jai Jai Nishinga Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa. So we are going to cover a lot of ground. So put on your seatbelts because we have a time. What else do we do? We also have certificates for the graduates from the disciple class, Bhakti Shastra class. What class? So we have that, and then of course we're going to have box prasadam to go, or how do we do the prasadam? Yes. So we want to stay on course, and here goes. We have a whole series of chords here. So today is the appearance day of Lord Narasimha Deva, and we'll have some philosophy in a moment, but we just want to move quickly here. Hey! Assuming I can find the right button. Okay, so I'm assuming an in-house audience. I'm assuming that you know most of the background. We'll have a little philosophy in a minute. But, and I don't have my laser pointer, but that's okay. Hiranyakasipu, the archetype materialist. Anyone know what Hiranyakasipu, what that name means? It means gold and a nice soft bed, which are the cornerstone aspirations of everyone. Let me become as rich as possible, as comfortable as possible. This is the, so he was the apex of these things. To get his position, he had to work hard. It didn't happen easy. Performed great austerity, so much so that he actually, all of his flesh was eaten away. He was living just because there was some marrow left in his bones. He was just a skeleton. And it had lasted so long, anthill had developed, had grown up around him, and the insects had eaten away his flesh. But still he was fixed. So this is Hiranyakasipu. He was greeted by Lord Brahma, and he asked for that thing which all people want. What is that? I do not want to die. Let me keep enjoying forever, free from death. And Brahma, the topmost living entity, said, what can I do? I also have to die. He's the supreme cause of the whole, this universe that we're in. And he also has to die. So he said, I can't give you what I don't have. So there was a whole, I was saying that, it's a long story, but at one point in time I was looking at the temple insurance. And we're insured for floods, fires, tidal waves. There's the whole 15 pages. We're not protected against nuclear blasts. I was thinking, how would we possibly collect? You know, I mean, that's like that's probably going to be a little lower down on our line of concerns. But so many clauses, conditions, this and that. And he wouldn't die at daytime or nighttime, inside or outside, on any earth, fire, water, or air. Shut this door if we can, okay? Yeah, because the kids want to play, and it's only fair to them. Not by anything living or dead, not killed by any man or any beast. All these conditions. He thought, well, okay, I got it figured out. I got it nailed. And we'll get there in a minute. So these were his benedictions. Now, he had the Hiranyakasipu, who was controlling the entire universe. His wife, the queen, became pregnant. And all the devas, you see these fellows assembled there. There's the queen in the middle in the blue sari. They were thinking that, the son's going to be worse than the father. So they captured the wife, the queen, and they thought when the boy comes out, when the baby comes out, we'll kill him. For the sake of the universe, we have to. The great sage Narada Muni, what's that with a lizard?
You want it right here? I got one.
Oh, all right. Well, probably wound up blinding somebody, but thanks for the effort. Much appreciated. All right. So thank you. Narada Muni said, no. This child is a great devotee. I mean, Krishna has, Prabhupada, I was sitting in the room. Prabhupada said, I have my plan, you have your plan, and Krishna has his plan. Whose plan do you think is going to win? Young man, I have a plan, you have a plan? Yes? There, very good. And it's true. Even the Bible says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. You know, as earth as it is in heaven. So thy will be done. Krishna's will, that's what happens. So anyway, Narada said, don't worry, the Lord's plan is there. So he instructed the queen, and the child, Prahlad, within the womb, heard all those instructions. And when he came out, he was a great devotee. Because he was a great devotee beforehand. That's another story. But here he is, 5-year-old boy. Who's 5? Anybody 5 years old here? Stand up if you don't mind, young boy. I don't mean to embarrass you. But just because you're a sweet kid, you'll get an idea. You stand up. Just for a second. 5-year-old boy. Turn around. Okay, you're done. Thank you very much. So just imagine this. Oh, we have another 5 there. So there it is. Just see. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Kid's brave. So but Prahlad in his school, you know, what's inside comes out. So he was teaching all of his friends how to be devotees, how to chant Hare Krishna, just depend on Krishna, be happy. You can play so many games. Ravana, you know, Hanuman, so many things you can play. So Hiranyakasipu, the archetype atheist, here is his son turning against him. No, you're not the supreme. Krishna is the supreme. He became so outraged, he threw his 5-year-old boy off his lap. I mean, we're racing through this, but we'll get into it in a second. And he tried to kill Prahlad in so many ways. This is just a sample. Put him in, you know, with asuras trying to kill him with tridents and poison, threw him off a cliff, just goes on and on and on. But Prahlad was untouchable. So he finally became so enraged. Just as a sidelight, this is in Andhra Pradesh. This is a remnant of the pillar that Lord Narasimha came out of, from Hiranyakasipu's palace. This is in Ahovalam. So it just gives you an idea of the scale and grandeur. So, you know the story. Hiranyakasipu says, where did you get your power? Same place you do. Everyone gets our power from Krishna, from God. Well, where is this Krishna? I'll show him. You know, he's everywhere. Is he in this pillar? And we know the result. So here is all the benedictions were kept intact. You cannot cheat Krishna. Krishna says in Gita, of gamblers, I am the cheat. So you can't cheat Krishna. He was killed on the lap of the Lord. It's not earth, fire, water, air, ether. It's completely sublime. It's spiritual. He was killed by the nails of the Lord. Are the nails living or dying? They're right on the cusp. He was killed on the doorstep, not inside, not outside. He was killed at dusk. Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? So all the benedictions were kept intact. But there was the brief surgical operation which the patient did not survive.
Recording in progress.
Oh, okay. And also we should point out at the end of the whole thing, Lord Narasimha said, please take some blessing. You're such a stalwart devotee. Anyone know the blessing that Prahlad asked for? One of his blessings? To save his father. So it has a happy ending. Don't worry. Everything works out great. Krishna's all absolute. Everything becomes all good. Whatever it may be, anger, danger, death, it all becomes auspicious by the touch of Krishna. We'll get into that in a second. So, Lord Narasimha Deva described those mantras they chanted. He's fear for fear personified. He is death personified. So here is Lord Narasimha Deva. Out of scale, well, I'll say this first. During this huge battle with Hiranyakasipu and all of his assistants, there is a point in the battle described in the Padma Purana that Lord Narasimha Deva lost sight of Hiranyakasipu. He disappeared. You know what happened? He was so small, Hiranyakasipu, that he got stuck under one of the nails of Lord Narasimha Deva. Lord Narasimha Deva had to shake him loose. The proportion is, if Narasimha is 1 foot, then Lord Nrsimhadev would have been 120 feet. So just imagine the power of Lord Nrsimhadev. You like that one, huh? So after the fight was over, this is a place called Nrsimhapoli. This is actually near Mayapur, or ISKCON Mayapur. And of course, Lord Nrsimhadev, what can I say? He's covered with the remnants of the brief surgical operation. The patient did not survive. So he went to bathe, and after bathing in this place, Nrsimhapoli, the demigods, they had water fights, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna and the Gopis. It's, it's a nice thing. So you had the demigods, all the devas, all the rulers of the higher planetary systems. They were on one side, and on the other side you had Prahlada and Lord Nrsimhadev, and they had a big water fight, splashing water, this and that. This happened at this place. This is all just for the mood. This is our ISKCON Mayapur. This is Lord Nrsimhadev. He's called Ugra Nrsimha. He is anger personified. He is jumping out of the pillar to protect his devotee. This is the presiding deity of Vijayanagar. Vijayanagar was a powerful Vaishnava kingdom in South India. And there's so many stories about Vijayanagar. This is Hampi. This deity is actually about, maybe 50, 60 feet high. It's the presiding deity of Vijayanagar. When you go to Hampi, up on the top hill overlooking the whole, it's a huge complex. This is their presiding deity, Lord Nrsimha. This is in Melakot in Karnataka. This is a Yoga Nrsimha deity. This deity was installed by Prahlad Maharaj. And Ramanujacharya, he stayed there for 13 years, but it kind of gives you a mood of the South Indian Bhav for Lord Nrsimhadev. Whoop. Lord Nrsimhadev, Krishna is described as the Lord of opposites in the Bhagavatam. Here's an example. Look at Lord Nrsimhadev's teeth. Now, those teeth are experienced by two categories of entities. And I'm not thinking Sura and Asura. A cat uses those teeth for two things. Who can mention one? To catch the rat. And you sometimes see the cat is carrying the rat in his teeth. And for that rat, and rightly so, it is death personified, right? Now, what's another use of those teeth?
Carrying the kitten.
Picking up the little kitten. And how is the kitten feeling it? The kitten's purring. It's very common that the kitten is purring. He's feeling that as a lover's embrace. So it's the same teeth. It's the same neck. What makes the difference?
Intention.
Good insurance policy? No, it's how are you related to the cat. That determines how you experience it. So if we are fighting with Krishna, stealing from Krishna, so many different, what's going to be our relationship? Of course, ultimately, whatever Krishna does is all good, absolute. We'll get to that in a moment. But the point is that if one is a devotee, surrenders to Krishna, that fear personified, which terrifies everyone else in the universe, is a great source of solace. That which strikes terror into the non-devotees brings peace and shelter to the devotee. Prabhupada gives the example, I don't have a clock. Well, that's a major flaw. Does anyone have a watch that I can, something that I can see? Oh, thank you very much. And something I can see. Oh, where's the clock? Can someone just bring that? Do you mind? It's in your own self-interest, otherwise I'll go on forever. Thanks a lot. Oh, jeez. So we'll move on. We'll get to it later on. Because I'm thinking of time. So here's the deity of Prahlad in our ISKCON Mayapur, and he's at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Prabhupada was walking in the zoo in Calcutta with devotees, and there was a big Bengal tiger. Bengal tigers are a massive beast. They are solid muscle. And there was a little boy outside, and the little boy was roaring at the tiger. The tiger, if that tiger got out, that little boy would have been a snack item, So, but the little boy was fearless, roaring at the tiger back. The tiger would roar, the little boy would roar. Prabhupada saw it, and he said, you know why the boy is fearless? Anyone know? Huh? Yeah. That's good. Controlling in the cage. Good guess, but not quite. Because the little boy had the hold of his father's hand. He was, of course, it's a miscalculation, but you can understand the principle. He's thinking, I have my father. My father is big and strong. My father will protect me. So devotees, we know, we're in the Prabhupada was sitting on the floor. I was sitting in the room. Prabhupada said, you think you're sitting on the floor? I'm sitting in the hands of Krishna. So that's how a devotee becomes fearless. Although, as a sidelight, devotees Prabhupada walking in Tuileries Gardens in Paris, France, of course. Devotee asked Prabhupada, if the devotees are fearless, why, when riding in a car, do we wear seatbelts? Stumped the Swami question. Prabhupada's answer was perfect, of course. Prabhupada said, Prabhupada said, devotees are fearless, but we're not fools. So don't get the wrong idea. But we use our intelligence, but we know that Krishna's ultimately there protecting his devotees. Okay, so I think, just for fun, this is in South India. This is Lord Nrsimhadev being carved. It's a whole story, and I just think we're going to move on. We'll save it for some other time. That we did. Okay. This is Lord Nrsimhadev when he was installed, the bathing ceremony with all the different auspicious substances. So you get a flavor of the mood of Ugra Nrsimha coming out of the pillar. Here are two prayers. This is by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. These days are special days. And they're not meant, Om Jaya Jagadish Hari, give me a new car and a house by the sea. It's not meant for that prayer. Oh God, give us this day our daily bread. We find that God is the great Amazon in the sky, with instant delivery. But prayer is meant for something else. We're going to get into it. What is the cause of our distress? And how prayer is actually meant for cleansing the heart. That will actually solve the problem. So this is a prayer by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Within my sinful heart, the 6 enemies headed by lust perpetually reside, as well as duplicity, the desire for fame, and plus sheer cunning. And if we're honest, certainly for myself, all these things are brewing in the heart. Talk about heartburn. This is the original heartburn. At the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimha, I hope that he will mercifully purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Lord Krishna. That's the auspicious prayer to offer today. And this prayer is offered by Prahlada Maharaj. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Nrsimhadev, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possesses nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. We may think, if we're honest, I've been conditioned for millions of lifetimes. I've got so many material desires. How will I ever get these things out of my heart? Ever feel like that? Ever feel a little despondent in spiritual life? No. Anything stronger than Lord Nrsimha's nails and teeth? Anything stronger than Lord Nrsimha, the source of all power? So if we pray to Lord Nrsimha and try to serve Lord Nrsimha and serve the Vaishnavas, Lord Nrsimhadev has the power to clean all of that out of our heart. So, we will end there and jump to this seat. Hey, Tapas? Some tech-savvy person? So just... No, we're okay, thanks. Appreciate the offer there. So a little philosophical foundation first. Because this is a pretty amazing thing. We are making an amazing claim. We're saying that this is the cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality of God himself coming in the form of a half man, half lion. Well, that's a lot to swallow, one may say. You don't expect me to believe that, blind faith and all of that. So let's start. Like if you have bamboo, if you try to move it all at once, it'll snap. But if you move it slowly, it can bend. So I want to give you a little progression. And the materialistic, atheistic view, looking out at the universe, it's called the either-or question. Either there is God or there isn't. And if there isn't God, why pretend? Or why waste our time? It's for old ladies and little people, people afraid of death. Well, we'll live with it. But, so that's it, that we live in a random, cold universe. It's going on by chance. And there it is, and we should just face up to it. The universe is silent, cold, and indifferent. It's just random combination of chemicals. Okay. But let me ask you this. Do any of you ever find something simple evolving into... Oh, I'll say it this way, because of the sake of time. You've all kindly come into the temple room here. You could be doing so many things right now, but you thought, no, let's Lord Nrsinga's appearance day. Let me go to the temple. And when you walked in, there was a nice kirtan. The temple's neat and clean and decorated in appropriate colors for Lord Nrsinga Day. The deities are beautifully dressed. Now, what if you showed up and everything was jumbled? The temple door was locked. There was nobody here. You think, who's in charge? What happened? The simple fact is, irrevocably, in every single circumstance, wherever we see order, pattern, symmetry, there's intelligence behind it. What the nature of that intelligence is, that we'll deal with in a moment. But wherever we see order, pattern, symmetry, and what is it? Is it the law of entropy? Where's our Raj will know. But anyway, it's a simple point that something will stay in a state of rest unless acted on by an outside force. So, what is the force that created dull matter to combine? And what caused it to go from simple to complex? The premyoidal, biotics. Hey, prebiotic soup or whatever you want to call it. What caused it? Rather, our experiences by the law of friction, whatever it may be, things degrade. You have a house, you leave it alone, it doesn't put on a roof and a new porch, it decays. Things devolve. They do not evolve to a higher state. That's our experience in every single circumstance. And yet we're asked to believe that the most they are studying, they are finding out now that there's organisms in the soil that actually allow trees and forests to communicate. They've studied the currents of the air. It's not just the Gulf Stream. It's so much more complex. It's like they're saying the way the currents affect the climate and the earth and gravitational forces, it's as complicated as the nervous system in the body. We can just go on and on and on. It is such a complex, the single cell. They used to think it was a saline bag, it's got a few things, little amino acids floating around in there. It's more complicated than New York City. And New York City doesn't work so well. So the point is the idea that behind this existence, creation, our experience, it's happening by blind chance. It's just foolhardy, arrogant. So, all right, if there's intelligence, then, because I want to fast forward, let me give you this simple example. It comes from the Ishupanishad, Om Purnama Da Purnamidam. If I have a subset of numbers, don't worry, I'm not going to go into heavy algebra. If I have a subset of numbers, okay, and I take a subset of the numbers, can I have anything in the subset that's not in the original set? No, it's impossible. And the Vedas, coming Jiva Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, so many, if I take a drop of water from the ocean and I analyze that drop of water, I'll find so much sodium, so much this, so much that. I will find, but anything in the drop must also be in the ocean. It's a difference of quantity, but not quality. Anything in the drop must be in the ocean. Anything in the subset must be in the original set. Now, we have form. We have personality. We have individuality. In fact, the worst thing you can do to somebody when they try to break someone down psychologically, thank you very much. All glories to Radha. Move quickly. Thanks. The simple point is, in fact, for us to be true, if you want to break someone down psychologically, You try to lose their personhood. I'm an individual. I am unique. And that's what gives us our very sense of self. That's our sense of identity. Don't treat me like a number. So we have individuality, we have emotion, we have relationships. Now we are a subset of the absolute. How can we have what the supreme, the absolute truth, doesn't have? Oh, God has no form, God is a light, God is... Why? We'll give one last example and then we're going to get to the heart of the thing, literally. What is an example of something? Because we understand, the Vaishnav theists, we understand that God is present everywhere, God is inside every atom, God is sustaining and maintaining, that it's all one. We understand that. It's not like we don't understand. Oh, gee, never thought of that one. So, but let me ask you this. What is something that we see, I wanted to give you a big hint, but I won't, that we see every day, except in June gloom, or May gray, that's a big hint, that is both all-pervasive and localized? Because the sun. I mean, and there's unlimited suns in the universe. If a material thing can be both localized and present everywhere, why can't the Supreme Lord have a form who's the cause of unlimited suns? God can't have a form and be present everywhere simultaneously? Show me the seamless logic in that. So our simple point is that we have faith in Lord Nrsimhadev, that Krishna comes in unlimited forms, as many forms as are waves in the ocean. And Krishna feels anger. But that anger, it's not like, oh, I hit my thumb and I go off like a sailor, whatever it may be, It's not that type of, and it's not anger that's, bewilders the intelligence, or that, is a cause of destruction for others. But Krishna's anger, everyone benefits, all the way down the line. And his anger is anger to the nth degree, Ugra Nrsimha. And that is how it should be. God's anger should be, So there it is. So that's Ugra Nrsimha. It is not blind faith. It is not sentiment. It is not folklore. It is, Hare Krishna, it is profoundly logical. Of course, confirmed by Shastra and our spiritual masters and all that. So, given the time factor, let's jump ahead and let's do a little compare and contrast, just for a moment. Now, we talked about the cat and the kitten and the rat. Prabhupada tells the story. Well, I'll say it this way. It's true, actually. We used to do skits sometimes with a nice theme here at the Sunday feast, and now we've got some nice young brahmacharis. We should start doing that again. And there were stories that were told by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quite often. So anyway, we were doing a play, and in the play, the audience is sitting here, and some devotees burst in this side door as part of the play, dressed as police officers. They said, "Nobody move." I swear to you, we had two guys, zing, zing, shot out the side door, I mean, something was going on. I don't know what was going on, but... So, what determines how one... Of course, we know George Floyd, and, it's a material example, and, all of that stuff. But generally speaking, if there's a good policeman, let's preface it with that. A good policeman, how does a citizen feel when they see a good policeman? They feel protected. The criminal, how does he feel? Oh, geez, the jig is up. Where's the side door? So Lord Nrsimhadev, Lord of opposites, according to how one's related, if one's a good citizen in this universe, then Lord Nrsimhadev is a source of shelter. If one's breaking the law, well, there it is. The Hiranyakasipu, this king, the father of Prahlada, his whole plan was how to manipulate the material energy to become happy. And if you look at, once again, he's the archetype, he's the prototype, he's the exemplar of material consciousness. Let me, if I just get a big enough house, if I just get a big enough car, if I just get a beautiful wife, if I get a new wife, if I get, whatever it may be, got to have a good prenuptial, got to make sure we got that in place, So everyone is making plans how to enjoy. And here, there's different types of intelligence, Srila Prabhupada describes. One intelligence learns by seeing, learns by hearing. He hears and understands. Oh, that's, The next grade, a little lower down, is one learns by seeing. You see somebody do something, don't touch the fire. Okay, don't touch it. You see somebody else touch the fire, they get burned. Hey, I'm not going to do that. The next level down, third level, is you touch the fire, you get burned. You say, I'm never going to do that again. But a fool, even though he hears, even though he sees, even though he experiences, still he doesn't learn. So the fact of the matter is that here is Hiranyakasipu. He had it all. People magazine, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. I mean, they got a gold toilet. Okay, I'm impressed, So, but Hiranyakasipu actually had it all. And he didn't get it easily. He worked hard, he struggled, he was working, he was always in anxiety how to maintain it. But he was always in fear. He was always in anxiety. It's described that the mind is two states, hankering and lamenting. We're either, if only I can get it, if only I can get it. Then when you've got it, you're completely in anxiety, I'm going to lose it. And then when you lose it, So the mind is never peaceful. So if one's, I guess I'll say this. So compare and contrast, that was my point. Hiranyakasipu, who had everything that could possibly make one enjoy, was completely in anxiety, completely fearful, and one miserable character, full of anger and greed. And look how he treated his own son. He was not a happy camper. Now, in the other corner, we have Prahlada. We saw the 5-year-old children. Innocent, completely dependent, no big plan. Who was happy? He was happy. Everyone around him became happy by his, by his association, everyone became happy. Even his father ultimately became happy. He was, even in the greatest circumstance of distress, he, Prahlada, was fearless and thinking about the welfare of others. So compare and contrast. We can work and get as much as we want, be at the top of the pyramid, but it will not last and it will not satisfy us. And we're never going to get it. So here's the point. And then we'll say one other thing and be done. There is conditions and there is constitution. Generally speaking, and we are completely exploited and indoctrinated. I remember a man, Wall Street Journal, China was just opening up. It was my Uncle Chuck. And he was reading the Wall Street Journal, and he was saying, this is some time ago, obviously. He said, I retired too soon. I said, why? He said, China's opening up. He said, just think of it, 1 billion consumer units. In other words, he was thinking all those senses that he could titillate with project, the blue light special from Kmart or Walmart, all the things. You watch kids, they're playing with a cardboard box, an old inner tube, a tree, they're completely happy. They get that, they watch whatever it is on television, or they get that box of, sugar rot cereal, and I got to get a new whiz bang, whatever. So by contemplation, attachment develops, Bhagavad Gita says. So my point being, we are surrounded, we are enmeshed, we are bombed. The average American citizen under hypnosis can remember over 375 commercial jingles. Coke is the real thing. No, it isn't. It's sugary fizzy water that'll rot your teeth. Nike, just do it? No. Shouldn't you think about it before you do it? So my point, we got so much garbage rattling around in there. And it's simply to turn us into a consumer unit, to exploit us. And even you get it all, you'll still be like Hiranyakasipu, full of anxiety. But if we simply take shelter of Krishna and think of the welfare for others, Prahlada Maharaj says, anyone here wake up today and think, you know, I'm going to go look for some unhappiness. You know, I'm going to get a hammer and knock myself in the head a couple times. I mean, yeah, I thought you'd like that. I mean, I don't want to out anybody. We have any closet masochists here. I don't think, you know, it's an Oprah moment. And yeah, I thought I'd get up and bang my head on the wall. No, everyone is seeking happiness. Even an ant, you put your finger, it'll move this way and that. The bee is, the plant will turn towards the sun. Anamoya, pranamoya, vijnanamoya, there's all different states of consciousness. But they're all based how they're seeking happiness, what they perceive happiness to be. That varies. But the instinct, how to become happy, that's driving every conscious living entity. Let me ask you a question. If that is the focus of every living entity since time immemorial, we're all working it. Anybody here ever experience unhappiness? You know, hey, you know, there it is, you know. So Prahlad Maharaj, it's a profound statement. As no one seeks unhappiness, but unhappiness comes. Similarly, if we don't seek happiness, happiness will come automatically. Let us do our duty. Let us do our service to others and to the Supreme Lord. Let us focus on that. Happiness will come automatically. If our happiness is depending on conditions, what are the nations of conditions? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the material nature is constantly mutable. It means it's always shifting. Buddhists, which comes out of the Vedic tradition, the Buddhists say nothing is certain but change. Now to learn by hearing. If I want uninterrupted happiness, my happiness depends on conditions, and conditions are always changing. You know, when you're a kid, connect the dots. Hey, my friends, connect the dots. I want unlimited happiness. My happiness is based on conditions. Conditions are always shifting and changing, and I can't control them. What picture comes out about my happiness? Temporary, fleeting. As they said when I was growing up as a kid, you're cruising for a bruising. It's not going to work, you know. What is that country western? Looking for love in all the wrong places. It's not happening. But if our happiness is based on our consciousness, that is the art of happiness. It is a science. It is not a whimsical thing that, somebody won the lottery and so therefore they, paid off. They got the jackpot. Happiness is a skill. It is an art. It is a science. And there's a whole methodology. The apex or the thread running through it is if I just serve Krishna and do my duty, I will become overwhelmingly happy. If my consciousness, if I'm thinking how to benefit others, so many things we can give you, tips from our Vedic literature. But the simple point is, if our consciousness is pure, then we will become happy. If our consciousness is not pure, whatever else we have, we will not become happy. And we can simply look at Prahlad Maharaj, the little 5-year-old boy, and Hiranyakasipu. So we're right on time. It can happen. So we'll end there. Thank you very much. All glories to Lord Narasimha Deva.